It feels wonderful to be here, and I always have a lot of questions. When I use this phrase, it feels wonderful to be here. It feels great to interact with you all. I should have a sound justification for saying that. What if we would not have met? We say, nice to meet you. Why? What if we would not have met? What if you would not have invited me? What if I would not have come for some other reason? Why is it nice to meet each other? It is nice because I feel meeting one more person is like living one more life. Because my own way of looking at life, I know, I'm aware of. But when I meet other people, I learn, I discover their way of looking at it. And it enriches my life. And we are meeting in a very positive atmosphere. So it is in every way a nice thing, a great thing to meet you all. Now, why I began my talk with that is that we should always have a justification. When I was a small boy, I had lots of questions. People will tell me, be a good boy. I'll say, why? What's the justification for being a good boy? Is it because your parents will punish you? So if you are told your parents will not come to know, then is it because your parents are going to give you some reward you with something? But then your father tells me, son, this year the financial situation is not good, I cannot reward you. Then if somebody told me that I am good out of fear of God, so I said, then you are a very bad person, because I don't even know whether God exists or not. I've never met him, but I'm a good person. You are good only out of fear of God. If somebody is able to convince you that God does not exist, you'll become bad. So that is not the right justification for being a good boy. Like we say, respect others. What is the justification for respecting others? Why can't we be rude? People in this world, they are having a good life. They're not, they're doing well. So why do we have to be respectful towards others? What's the justification for doing that? I have the justifications. I will not give them to you. I would want you to think about it and see what your justification is for making those choices. Now, when I was a small child, of course, I didn't know much. I was weaker of the group, shorter in height, not very good in sports. I could not throw a ball well. I could not hit it well. I could not catch it. I could not fly a kite. Children used to fight with each other that we don't want Navin in our team. This is what we call rejection. And we have to face rejection from our friends, from our family, from our parents, from our teachers. Useless fellow. Your parents may call you. Your friends may make fun of you. So rejection is something we all have to face in life. We cannot avoid that. Now this rejection leads to a kind of frustration, anger. Sometimes I meet with young students, the youth, and they say, sir, I want peace in this world. Peace is not the driving force of this world. We say rest in peace when somebody is dead. Peace is the end. Peace is not the beginning. The beginning is anger and frustration. Anger and frustration is the driving force of this world, provided we use it in the right direction. Gandhi was a very angry man. When we are angry, what do? We skip one meal and our anger is taken care of. But Gandhi could skip meal for 40 days and still have the energy left in him. So he was a very angry man who had tremendous anger towards the way people used to behave. So maybe that's why he wanted to change the society. He directed his anger in the direction of self-discipline. So anger and frustration is the driving force of this world. If we don't get angry with the present, with the existing conditions, we will not try to bring out or change. Now, as a child, I did not know that. It was just fortunate that I used it in the right direction. And somewhere there was a rebel in me who was not willing to accept that I am a weak child, that I am not good, that my handwriting is bad. My handwriting was bad and teachers would tell me write it 100 times and get it. I would write 100 times bad and get it. So unless you tell me what are the characteristics of a good handwriting, then somebody will tell me write neat and tidy. I am not writing dirty. I am writing, tell me the characteristics. What are the 5 points to be kept in mind, which if anybody keeps those 5 points in mind, he'll have a good handwriting. So we will be told our mistakes by a lot of people, but how to improve them, we'll have to discover that for ourselves, because something that worked for me may not work for you. We have our own answers which we have to find. One thing for sure, that I was going to do it. I was going to improve myself. I was going to be a better child. I was going to be appreciated. I was going to reach a certain level of success in my life, and in whatever terms that we may define success. I started working hard. I started finding out my ways. I had lots of questions. Why does the plus become a minus? Why does the multiply become a divide? Why the innermost bracket first? Why not the outermost bracket? Why do we divide the alphabet into vowels and consonants? Why not just letters? And why do we need both of them to form a word? Why not just one of them? So I always had these questions, and because I was not getting answers to these questions, I was not able to move further from there. So the point is, you should have lots of questions and try to find their answers. And I always say, a good teacher will never provide you the answers. He'll teach you how to discover them. And a good student will also try to do the same thing. So anyway, I worked hard. I found my answers, and when I was in ninth or 10th grade, I was doing very good in sports. I was playing nearly all the sports at some school level, some zonal level, regional level. And children used to fight with each other that if you want Navin in your team, give us two players in exchange. So we all want that kind of a change in our lives. But to bring about that kind of a change is going to take time. What happens is, a child decides, now I'm going to be a good boy. I'm going to study. He studies for half an hour. But definitely in half an hour his reputation has not improved. So his father comes and scolds him, and he says, what is this? I decided to be a good boy. Now I'm not going to be a good boy. So if you want to bring that change, you will have to live with that criticism for a long period of time. Then you will be able to bring about that change. You need that period of time. Now, the doctors predicted, not predicted, diagnosed that I had bronchitis, asthma. I was not able to run. I was suffocating, and they advised me that I should give up sports because I would not be able to achieve anything in sports. From next day, I increased my running distance by double and my exercising time by double. People say you did not listen to the doctor. Doctors are not gods. Doctors are my classmates. You know, they can commit mistakes. I know they are as vulnerable as any of us in committing mistakes. What you will be able to achieve in your life, you have the right to decide that. Nobody else has the right to decide that. Your parents don't have a right to decide that. Your teachers don't have a right to decide that. Your friends don't have the right to decide what you will be able to achieve in your life. You have the right to decide it. Sometimes youngsters come to me, sir, I don't agree. I believe it works this way. So I say, okay, prove it. What's the problem? I have no hassles. So if you have a belief, prove it. Now I continued working hard, and success was even more difficult. And the more difficult the success is, the better it is. Easy success can destroy you. I always say, failure can harm you a little, but success can completely destroy you. And there are tremendous number of examples. Handling success is very difficult thing, and so I did not get success. That helped uh, me in a way that fire was always there in me to succeed. Uh, and I joined army at the age of 18, and by the age of 22 I had met with this accident not very far from this place, just a few kilometers. And that time this place was a small town, and there was no orthopedic specialist doctor here. The doctor was to arrive by train in 3 days, and I had to survive those 3 days somehow, because the doctor here did not know how to attend to me or how I was to be treated. And I have learned in my days of sporting, in sports and in training, that more difficult the situation is, more calm you should be. If you are calm, you will take the right decision. Again, I can just give examples, one after the other. Why do we call Mahendra Singh Dhoni as Captain Cool? Because he's cool, is able to take the right decision. The more calm your mind is, the better decision you will take. If you're angry, you may take a wrong decision. If you're excited, you may take a wrong decision. If you're nervous, you may take a wrong decision. So you always have to be calm when taking decisions. And I knew that, so I had to practice it at that point of time. And I lay in a hospital bed, not being able to move, not being able to breathe properly, not being able to speak. Even my head did not move, only my eyes moved. And uh, I imagined that I was walking in the night, and I kept forcing myself to place one step in front of the other. That's how I passed those 3 days, survived those 3 days, and continued. I spent about 2 years in the hospital. Now again, one thing that somehow we feel having more is a better thing, whereas life is so beautifully created that the lesser we have, the more we appreciate it. When I was in a hospital bed, I used to imagine that how wonderful it would be if I could just turn to a side and go to sleep. I used to imagine how wonderful it would be if I could take a cold water bath. Something very small, we would not give it that significance. But it used to feel like a very big thing to me. And I was able to sustain those 2 years in the hospital, sustain myself. Now that's, a sportsman way of looking at things. If a normal person looks at an obstacle, at a hurdle, he says, "Oh no, another hurdle. How I'll have to cross this one also." Whereas a sportsman says, "Ah, another hurdle. Wow, let's do it." So you should look at life like a sportsman looks at it. And after 2 years in the hospital, again the doctor said that one day he might be able to move his wheelchair himself. And it never disturbs me in any way if people have an opinion about me. People have a right to have an opinion about me, good or bad. That doesn't matter. What matters is what opinion I have about myself. That is important. And that was 22 years back. I got injured at the age of 22, and I have been in a wheelchair for 22. And I feel the second 22 have been better, and I have enjoyed it more. In these 22 years, whatever I wanted to do in my life, I modified cars. I drove manual transmission cars. I am the only person with my disability driving manual transmission cars anywhere in the world. I made a world record, which in adventure driving, which nobody else has been able to break till date. And I write in 3 languages. I'm a published author in 2 languages. My books have been translated into several languages. I get wonderful reviews for my books and my poetry. And I run an organization for the welfare of underprivileged children. It's not that I'm working for the children. I'm working for myself. It's great joy to work for them. So I've been able to do everything in my life, right, to flying also, flying powered hang gliders, immaculate crafts, whitewater rafting, things, whatever I wanted to do. And the difficulties, the challenges that I had to face in my life actually helped me achieve that sooner than later. We have a misconception that if we have to face some difficulty or some challenge, maybe now it's going to take more time. No, it's going to help you achieve sooner. So that is how it works in reality. And I'm very glad that I've been able to do it. Now the main thing is, before venturing on any of these expeditions or any of these tasks, I really did not know how I will do it, but that I was sure. That is the idea, one idea that I want to give you out of my story today. That what happens with most of the people is that they have a dream, like Martin Luther King said, "I have a dream." We all have a dream. The point is, we want all the answers before we start on that path. Before we start following that dream, we want the answers. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if I lose? What if I this? We want all the answers. You can never have the answers before. You have to start on that journey, and somewhere along the way, you will keep discovering the answers. That is important. So start on that journey. It is like that camping trip that you want to go on. And before going on that camping trip, you carry all those hunting knives and this gadget and that gadget, and none of those gadgets comes handy. What comes handy is something you find on the ground there. So in life also, you may have n number of answers before starting, but what will eventually help you will discover on your way. So don't hesitate to follow your dreams. What is you know uh, uh, the fear people have? What if I fail? I say, what's the maximum that can happen? You will fail. It's okay. Not a big deal. 7,000 crore people have come in this world and gone away. You will also come and go away. Not a big deal. You know? At the most, what will happen? At the worst, what can happen? You will fail. It's okay. Accept that. Accept that possibility, so that that fear goes away from you. And then after that, focus on your work. Focus on your dream. So that is about it as far as the idea that I wanted to share with you. And I have a collection of pictures in the form of a PowerPoint presentation. Most of these pictures are intended to impress you all. And let's just go about it. This is partly frozen Marsamek Lake. Temperatures there can go up to -30, -40. And yes, this is that time of the year when neither the Chinese troops nor the Indian troops are there fighting with each other. Next, next. This is my very good friend. He's the commandant of Indian of Rashtriya Indian Military College RMC right now. Next, we were in training together. Next, whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, the body that has been gifted to you is a very great gift. We should take care of it. We should try to stay as fit as possible. Next, next, next. People say adventure is about taking risk. I say adventure is not about taking risk. Adventure is about eliminating the risk. And you will, I got injured on this particular obstacle, a very simple obstacle. Uh, so you'll face your end, or you'll face your face an injury where you will be least expecting it. Next, this was the condition in which I had to remain in the hospital. Uh, the facilities were very poor facilities at that time, and I could not move at all. And I treated that period of hospitalization as some kind of uh, you know meditation or something from which I learnt. Next, next, next. I have always, sometimes people say, what if this would not have happened? You cannot know. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. You can never know what would have happened if this would not have happened. But it works for me to believe that whatever happened, happened for the right and happened for the better. So I'll believe in it. Next, next, next. I always say life is like a 500 rupee note. If you keep it in your pocket, it's a piece of paper. If you spend it, you can buy something with it. And whether you spend it or not, it is going to go away. So, as well, it will be better you spend it. Next, 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 next. I go to the cold places in winters and I go to the deserts in summers. Because like people say, what's wrong with you? Why are you going to the deserts in summers? So I say, if you have not seen the deserts in summers, you have not seen the deserts. You have to see them in summers if you want to know what deserts feel like. Next, a lot of places, this is again Chakrata Falls. Those who have gone would wonder how I reached this rock, uh, crossing that mountain track, the foot track. The thing is, when you have an impossible target in front of you and you are able to divide it into 50 or 100 logical smaller steps, you can achieve it. Next, this is the white desert, a place where you can actually see that the earth is round. Next, 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 next. Some people are impressed you have done flying and all. I say flying is easier than driving. Next, 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 next. One more picture. Next. Yes, we can stop there. It's a long presentation. We will not continue further. Now I'll end with my social work, because a lot of youngsters, students come to me. They say, "Sir, I also want to do social work." So I say, "Can you be happy when you see your friend or your competitor succeed and not feel jealous? Can you meet people with a smile? Can you be nice to people? Can you congratulate your competitor and celebrate his victory over you? If you don't have that kind of a heart, then really you cannot do social work. First, you should work on developing that kind of heart, where you are a giver, where you can, instead of wanting appreciation, you can give appreciation to others. You can encourage others. If you have that, then after that you can venture into social work. So that's about it. And uh, I hope I've been able to convey that idea that if you have a dream, follow that dream, you will find your answers on the way.